You guys head over to YouTube, just check if we're live there. And I'll check myself also. Let's see here. You guys head over to YouTube, just check if we're live there.
It works.
Check myself also. Yeah, all right. We are live because I could hear myself. All right, guys. So it's 3 o'clock Copenhagen time, Danish time. And today with me, I have the delight of having Christopher Hofman Laursen from Denmark. So that's fun. We're talking English, and we are here in Denmark, two Danish SEOs talking English about search engine optimization. So I think that's super funny. I'm glad having you here today, Christopher. I have personally attended one of your hands-on SEO courses a couple of years ago when you were working here in Jylland about a certain idea that you have about topical maps. So I know from first-hand experience, and I've watched you speak a couple of times at conferences. So I know from first-hand experience that what I like about you is that you practice what you preach. And I know that you've been doing SEO for many, many years. And I know, and that's one of the things that I like about what you're teaching and what you're talking about. I know that you are actually applying it to clients because many people that are in SEO that talk about SEO, myself included, don't have have kind of like a lack of time to apply what we know. But you're one of those guys that actually apply this, and that's what I find super interesting. So the topic of today's talk will be the so-called T method or transcription method. But I'll just give the word to you. Could you just spend 30 seconds, a minute introducing yourself? Where did you grow up? Who are you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I remember our workshop. It was in Aarhus.
Yeah.
I think it's like 3 or 4 years ago, where we were trying to map out customer journeys using Google data. So very practical approach. Anyway, I mean, my name is Christopher Hofman. I've been doing SEO for 20 years, and as anybody else here on the call, just learning it by coincidence. I guess that's the way you go. You enter the world of SEO. Yeah, today I run my own consultancy. Been running that for 1 year, and I'm helping mostly international B2B companies, but also some Danish ones. And yeah, as you know, there are always some exciting projects where you see, okay, I wasn't expecting this, but there's actually a good match. There's a good fit here between the company and I. So I take on some different projects on the way. And on the other side now, I've become involved with helping out Danish leaders with their AI skills. So there are many. You can say there's a whole society who needs to understand AI and who needs to understand how to approach AI. So I've become like a part-time teacher in that as well. I didn't expect to do that at the beginning of the year, but that's how it is.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, you are self-employed now, and have been for the last more than 1 year now. So, I mean, as self-employed people, we have to make a living, right? We have to earn some money. So,
Yeah, and I think it's also about if you're doing something outside your own domain, you need to find out are there synergies with what we're doing, and of course AI. For me, it's just like everybody should just learn AI, and by teaching it, I really get a full understanding of the way that I should approach it. So I think it made a lot of sense to make this move.
the reason that we are talking today, you and me, is because you you recently came out with your transcription method, and you've made a course. I think that it's available now for the public. If I'm correct, I think
Yeah.
you can purchase your SEO course now. So this T method or transcription method, that's the reason that we're talking today. And so the transcription method relates to on-page SEO, but we have link building and on-page SEO. So which part what would you say that you're most focused on, link building or on-page SEO?
And no, I'm mostly focused on page SEO or content in general. I mean, on page SEO is also suddenly becoming part of the LLMs, right? I mean, it has become like a search everywhere optimization. You need to be in different places in order for you to optimize your content, optimize your brand. I mean, Jesper, I started out in link building. And actually, I mean, that was, I did, I did the course from Brian Dean at Big Lingo back in 2013, 14, and did a lot of different things with LinkedIn, with infographics and other stuff. But over the last 10 years, I've moved into the space of content basically.
I think this is interesting. So what I'm seeing with link build, I love link building, but I'm also seeing that the biggest wins and the fastest wins right now is with on-page SEO. And I think it's not only right now, it's been like that for a couple of years now, that the fastest ranking improvements is just tuning the on-page SEO. But the transcription method, could you kind of like give an introduction to what's the idea, what's the purpose of this transcription method?
Yeah, I mean, the idea is basically to understand that usually when we want to build content, and when we talk content, we want to build text. So what we do is we go out and we compare with competitors who's ranking at the top. What do you need to do to build this content? And we try to do something similar, maybe a little bit better. In the old days, when Brian Dean had Backlinko, we talked about the skyscraper method, right? Doing these 10,000 words guides. However, what I discovered was actually that there is an unhidden source. There are like 4.5 million podcasts out there that you can download and convert to text. There are, of course, millions of YouTube videos which you can convert to text and add to your data, add to your training data. So I think I was actually, as you stated earlier, I practice what I preach. So actually, this came out from me having a challenge by running side projects where I didn't have the time to create the content. I didn't have the knowledge to understand the domain that I was in. And I also I needed to execute fast, and I needed to create the best content on the web at the same time. So that's when you start to look for where are the loopholes, where are the possibilities in the market. And that's when I started developing this method, which we have today. So basically, my project was, I have a Danish wine site, danishwine.com. I needed to build out 200 pages on that website. So of course, you can go in one direction, which is programmatic SEO, and you can do some plain vanilla crap. But you can also go in the other way and curate content, really make some original content, some evergreen content which will last. So that was my challenge. I wanted to create this original content. But as a one-man army, how could I create content describing 100 vineyards, for instance?
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's impossible. Yeah.
that's impossible, right? And of course, with AI today, you can go into your generative AI tool of choice, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and you can do some plain vanilla content. Give me 500 words about this vineyard, for instance, right? And you will get the same content as I will get, and some listeners on this show will also get the same content. That's not really going to move the needle. So that was my outset, and then I just discovered that you can actually find 2-hour podcasts with the winemaker of the vineyard out there on Spotify or where you listen to your podcasts, where they're telling everything about the vineyard, about their methods, production, all the small anecdotes, all this which is not part of the text universe today, right? So that was one side. Then you could go to YouTube or you could go to other videos and you could find more information about the vineyards. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. I could. The epiphany for me was actually I received the local newspaper. I don't know if you have a local newspaper in your area, Jesper.
Yeah, Aalborg, yes. Mhm.
Okay, great. So in this newspaper there was an article about a local vineyard who had just won a prize, a big international prize. And I thought, okay, this is really interesting. If I wanted to create a page about them, can I take a picture of this and upload to ChatGPT and have it transcribe the text? And of course, it could, right? No problems doing that. And I thought, okay, now I have some data to fill in and create my vineyard article. So that was the epiphany, and then I moved on to podcast, video, you name it, anything which is non-text. That's practically what you can use as your training data for your blog, your guide, your product page, category page, whatever.
So, so you have a blog post that's your starting point. So, and this was this wine shop. I put the link to Christopher's website, danishwine.com, in the chat so you can actually see it. So for this danishwine.com, so you have a series of articles about the vineyard and certain wines, and then you wanted to get more organic traffic. So what you did was that you found some podcasts, then you transcribed them, and then you added this content to the existing blog posts, right? So you expanded the set of topics that this article covers. Am I
Yeah,
understanding this
actually,
correctly?
yeah, that's. I mean, since it was a new website, I was building them from scratch. These articles with this method. However, you can of course always take an existing article and have some different data, for instance, the transcription from a podcast, and say, okay, what are the differences here? Where can I improve the article? So that's also that's also a workaround if you want to do that. But in my case, I had to create these articles about the different vineyards, and I was basically using podcast and video to build them. I mean, as with anything else, you start out with you need to have a structure for the website, of course, and when you have that one in place, you can fill out the content. So that's the way I went with it. Yeah.
I see, I see. So you can use this what as I understand you can use it both for starting from scratch and then also adding to existing articles. So what kind of indexing and ranking rates are you seeing when you're creating articles like this? Is it do you have to wait a long time or do they index easily or
Yeah, I mean,
what do you see?
what I was able to do was, of course, to publish daily these pages, and as you know, the more you publish, the more frequently you publish, the more you get visits from the different bots, the faster you index. At one point, it's like then there's another level to it. So you go from ranking for particular vineyards to ranking for the big generic terms. I did actually also do a link building campaign at the same time, which we can talk about later if you want to. Um, but just publishing frequently and publishing the best content on the web. I was actually what I was doing there was probably what a full content team would do. It was the same amount of output, like really curating content, but doing it at a pace and at an efficiency that you need a whole content team to do that.
Okay, so what we're talking about here, just so that people understand what we're talking about here, we're not talking about spammy affiliate crap content. We're talking about quality content that will be put on a real life website that's actually used for something. It could be, so in your case, it's Danish wine, but it also could be a corporate website. We're talking about quality content. So I know from my own websites, I write all the content in hand. I use AI, of course, to help me and assist me, especially once it has been written. But for websites that we care about, at least from my experience, the AI machines are still not good enough to actually take it from A to B just without editing.
Mm,
But
mm.
actually, with your method, it's kind of like a time saver and also a quality booster, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's when you're really caring about your content, you can use this method, I would say. And it's also a way. It's also a way for you. I mean, every page I did about these vineyards was the best page on this vineyard on the web, right? So I was caring about the brand. You know, when you are in the wine industry, you think 10 years ahead, 20 years ahead. You have it's a long term approach. I mean, the same approach as with any bigger corporation, any serious business. So that helped me. It helped me publish some original content very frequently, and it also helped me filling out my knowledge gaps because I didn't know a lot about Danish wine when I started out, but a winemaker who has worked a lifetime producing wines and who are talking 2 hours about wine on a podcast, that's a guy who's talking in my articles. So that also gave me the boost, and I could use, I was also using quotes from the winemakers as well in order for me to gain something on the gain some EAT points, right? EAT points. So that was also, of course, something which came into the process at a certain point.
So I guess that if you have a podcast that's, let's say, 45 minutes long or 1 hour, 1 hour long, I guess that and a 1 hour podcast can be converted into multiple articles, right? Because when you're reading, I don't know what the reading rate is for 100 words, but if it's 1 hour, it could be several articles, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, output is never. I mean, I think massive output is not the issue anymore, right? It's more about quality and massive at the same time. I think that's where that's like the key to everything, right? No, we don't have problems with output anymore, but we really have problem with the quality.
I think it's interesting because what you're actually looking at here is that we know that Google, they have some patterns about quality. So whenever you're posting a new article and if you wanted to index and rank in Google, what Google is looking at is the newness of the article.
Mm,
So newness meaning that they're chopping up your text and then they're converting into embeddings, these vectors,
yeah.
and then they are measuring these vectors in your article compared to what they have already have in the index. So this transcription method is genius. It's brilliant because you're actually adding new vectors, new embeddings that doesn't exist already.
Mm.
And I think that might be why you are seeing them work so well. I think because you're adding new stuff that they don't already know, Google.
Yeah, I mean, it took me 14 months to rank for the main term, Danish wine in Danish, dansk vin.
Yeah, yeah.
It took me 14 months to rank number one for that one. Just going from a high world WordPress site to being the top dog. And that was, of course, publishing consistently. Of course, also, you need to have a plan, right? You need to have a topical map. You need to have an understanding of what you need to publish, how you need to build up the website. But the production part, I would say, that was really the key. Putting everything, making everything scalable, but keeping the quality all the way through. I mean that at that point there were no competition, right? I mean that's it just worked.
And I'm of course I'm in Denmark, and I just searched for Danish wine, and you're number two. You're the top ranking website from my IP address anyway is Visit Denmark, so it's a tourist organization for when I'm searched for Danish wine. So Danish wine is that's actually excellent because you started out with a fresh website, no domain rating, no content, no nothing. You just started out, and then you applied these methods on this website. So how many articles have you built on this website with this?
Yeah, I mean, I built probably around 60, 70 for the different vineyards. There are 100. And then I built a lot of evergreen content, how much wine can you drink and still drive a car, or how to keep your wine cellar fresh, whatever. All these kind of evergreen wine content pieces as well, right? So um, so it's probably around, yeah, I think 120 pieces of content. I think it took me. Yeah.
And that's
And
for
then
those of you guys. Yeah, sorry. No,
there's an
keep on.
important point here, Jesper, because I got to the number one spot on Christmas Eve 2024, and I think around January I just stopped working on the website, and but just 2 weeks ago, and then I fell down because no freshness on the website. Okay, but then 2 weeks ago I started up some new partnerships, selling some new wine ranges. And I went from like 6, 7, 8 to number 2 again just by updating my website. So Google was like punishing me for not producing anything. But as soon as I started producing again, I just went up in the top 3. Uh, so freshness is definitely a part of the algorithm.
I love that. I because this is just hands-on that super duper SEO people we tend to forget this hands-on that it's just if you update your articles you will get a quality boost and you will get a ranking improvement from Google just by updating it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. I mean,
just
I didn't update the articles. I put in new products on the page. That was what I
okay.
did. Yeah, okay. I did update a couple of articles. So yeah, but it was enough to go back and rank at the top where Google originally had placed me. Yeah. So, but it also tells me a lot, Jesper, about that when you work with SEO, you need to be aware about frequency, right? You need to have a publishing calendar, and you need to stick with it, and you can't just stop at one point. You need to continue feeding the beast, right? It's important.
So I guess that producing quality content like this must have a positive impact on the organic traffic from Google. Now we have the AI overview that we've all taken a hit from with the organic traffic. But what have you seen? What has been the kind of like improvement or development of your organic traffic?
Yeah, I think it's I think during the 14 months from starting from scratch until I was ranking number 1 for Danish wine, it was like nice and slowly getting up there. And then when I hit the number 1 spot, it really just jumped. It was it was like it doubled, the traffic doubled overnight almost. And I didn't touch the website this year, and it just stayed at the same level all the time. So of course, as we saw, some people see the crocodile when AI overviews came in April in Denmark. I just had stable traffic and of course more impressions. So being part of the AI overviews is definitely the reason why.
So the shop that we're talking about, or the website that we're talking about, it's a web shop, so you can actually also buy stuff from this web shop. Have you seen anything about how has this affected the sales?
Yeah, I think sales are correlating with the traffic. I could always do more. I haven't done anything on other channels. So basically, the sales that I'm getting is directly from organic traffic. I get a couple of orders per week, so it's okay. Um, Again, it's I love the wine business. I get to taste a lot of different wine, but I'm making my money in as an SEO consultant. So I'm also using this as a training platform. I'm not, it's funny to build a website. It's funny to test the wine. It's also okay to ship wine orders, but it's not my plan for now to make it my full business. But sure, at one point I will step it up and do some more.
Okay, okay. Of course, it is fun to drink wine.
Yeah. Actually, there was a question here, Jesper, because
Yeah.
I did at one point, I think this summer, I redirected a domain, booklab.dk, to the website. I was doing some vibe coding in Lovable, and I just couldn't create a new website for this domain I had bought. So I just redirected it to the Danish wine site. That's probably also why I have more impressions. So just if somebody is checking the website.
Yeah, so we got a question from Peter Olesen, which he must be Danish. Content is king, but what about the expired domain that he is redirecting to the site? And that's what you're
Yeah,
referring to.
that's
Yeah.
a booklab decay. I don't
Okay.
know what to do with that domain. I was just playing around.
So yeah, so let's talk about link building for this site, because one thing is of course good quality content, and then you have that under control now. But have you done something about social media profiles, and what have you done about? Could you talk about link building?
Yeah, sure. I mean, actually, I have a very interesting case, I think, which it's built upon what I did earlier, because earlier I had quite a lot of success doing infographics and different techniques to get links from those. So I took some of those practices and actually used them for this case, because imagine, Jesper, you're that one guy who's interested in Danish wine. You go to visit a vineyard and you say, "Hey, I'm going to build a website and I'm going to sell some Danish wine. Are you interested?" It's like, okay, anybody can do that. So I needed to build up a relationship with the different vineyards. And at the same time, I thought, okay, I have this old link building method. Maybe I can just join forces here and do something which is like more holistic approach. So I remember I went to a vineyard and I asked them, it was the early days, and I asked them, you know, how many vineyards are there in Denmark? And the guys out there was like, we don't have the exact number, but I think there's some professor out there doing some research at the moment. So I thought, okay, I can get that data. I mean, so and actually I could get that data, and I can also do an infographic, and I could do a link building campaign, but I can also print out these infographics as posters and ship them to each vineyard and have them use them as my business card. So that's what I did. I went to work. I got the list of all commercially driven vineyards in Denmark. I created a map of Denmark. I had some Indian freelancer doing the map. I had a Danish designer doing the finishing touches. And I got an infographic with all the Danish vineyards placed on a map. And then I printed this map and I shipped it to all the different vineyards. So some of the vineyards, they of course they posted photos of it. They put it on Instagram. Suddenly, I also started getting links to my web page, and very quickly I actually ranked number one. That was my first win. I ranked number one for Danish vineyards in Google. And of course, as you know, when you rank number one for Danish vineyards, you will also generate more natural links, because somebody searching there will find this map. So that was quite a nice link building campaign, and it was also a very nice way to be introduced to the vineyards, because I came out to visit them and they put up the poster in their showroom, right? So it was just a natural talk from there.
Nice. I like that. I mean, I know about this infographic method. I've never tried it myself. It's that's really nice actually. It also, I mean, it's not for beginners, or it's for, at least this method is for people that have some sort of resource and time, not necessarily money, but you need some resources, and you need some motivation and drive, because what you actually did, so you sent this physically out, and then they took pictures of that and posted on the website, and you got backlinks
Yeah.
that way. So that's a very innovative and creative way of getting links, but it's quality links, so it's not crap PBN links.
No, it's quality. It's naturally gained links, all of them. Yeah. And I think in your business, if you're seeing that somebody's got a lot of links from, for instance, presenting a table of data, if you can imagine that this could actually be converted to an infographic, I think you have something, right? I mean, that's back in 2014, I had a domain name registration company, right? So that was also at the time where you had all these new top level domains coming out. .pizza, .nyz, .nyc, all these not country code domains. So I just saw that there was somebody gaining a lot of traction by putting out a long list of all these new top level domains. And what I did instead was actually I could see in 2015 it would be the 30-year anniversary for the first .com domain name registered. So I thought that would be a great PR hook. So what I built was an infographic with a timeline from 1985 to 2015 with all the different top level domains on the way, the year they were launched. And what you could see there was, of course, that that it just exploded in 2014, 2015. So I had the PR hook of the 30-year anniversary. I had an interesting news angle because there were all these new top level domains out there, and I already had the blueprint that this kind of content would gain links. So this was my version one, was just putting it online. I got like 100 plus links from all kinds of industry sites, whatever. I was actually I was ranking number 2 in the US, just behind GoDaddy, which is like the biggest domain registrar for the word new top level domains. So that was really a great campaign. And then I did a second version, and that was the version where I actually printed out these infographics as posters and sent them to industry blogs which hadn't linked yet to my infographic. So that was like the second round. So you can do multiple rounds of this. If the first approach doesn't work online, then you can do a second one where you're doing a physical send out.
That's extremely creative, and I'm wondering if I'm doing SEO for a pest control company or a plumber or a dentist or a company like that. How do you think how could we apply the link building method with the infographic? I'm finding it, I'm just running dry on ideas. Do you have any idea how could we apply this to a plumber or dentist or some or stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe trying to, what is it called? Trying to squeeze a square into a round hole, right? I mean, maybe
Yeah.
it's not possible, but I would say if you find any industry where they have some interesting data and you can see that people have linked to it, then you have a case. If you can also see if it can be done as an infographic, right? So anything to do with geography, for instance, I don't know if it's interesting to see how many plumbers there are in Denmark and where they're distributed. I don't know, but anyway, I mean, geography or timelines. I think those are two types of interesting infographics to do. Or I mean, sometimes you also see these infographics where you have like I don't know. Okay, I think it's maybe it's too far-fetched, but just trying to find a blueprint, Jesper, before you go ahead and do any kind of infographics.
Yeah,
You,
I totally get it. I understand. Of course it takes some creative headspace to get into the idea of where can actually you apply, create, and find these in infographics. But let's circle back to the transcription idea, because obviously it worked very well for your wine shop and you're ranking very highly here in Denmark, and that was the purpose of this method. So if I'm if I'm creating content for my own websites, so I guess that you're talking about these 4.5 million podcasts that you can actually download and transcribe. I guess it doesn't really matter if my website, if I'm creating content from my dentist or plumber or pest control website, I don't need a podcast with the founder of this company. I guess I can find a podcast in that general area. Or do you have any experience with that? You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, I mean, tell me about a guide that you did recently, maybe for a client or for yourself. you know.
Yeah, I am building links for. I have pest control companies as clients, and I have dentists and plumbers and roofers. That's
Okay,
those are the sort of clients that I help. Yeah.
okay, so have you written a guide for a pest control company?
No, I'm only doing link building, so I'm not doing on-page SEO.
Okay, but you could do with the T method, you could do on-page SEO as well.
Okay,
Because
yeah, yeah.
because you don't need to have the industry knowledge. You can basically say if there's a video out there, it could even be from Brazil. You don't even know the language. If they've made a video about I don't know how to prevent rats getting rats into the house, you can basically take a YouTube video in Japanese or Portuguese or whatever, transcribe it, and translate it to Danish. There you have so you have some kind of expert somewhere, and you're just using their knowledge and you're merging it into your structured article. Um, so that's basically the way forward. And I don't think it doesn't matter if it's pest control or if it's plumbers. You know, as long as as you're creating knowledge for your prospects in order for them to move closer to the basket. I think that's where you can use this kind of method.
So I could basically, for if I was doing on-page SEO for a plumber or a roofer, I could go into this website that you mentioned, or that at least that you're talking about in your SEO course. And I just pasted the link to the course. I hope it's the correct link because I'm logged in. I just copied the URL. I am logged in, so if you could check. But anyway, so you could go in to this website and search for roofing or roofer, and then find some podcasts and select the podcast that you find to be the most relevant.
Mm.
Transcribe it and grab the content like what you're talking about, showing
Yeah,
in your course. Yeah.
exactly. And of course, there are also some ethical views, right? Maybe you need to quote the expert in there because it's just fair. But maybe they're also just telling some general stuff that because you don't have the industry knowledge, you don't know about, but they're just confirming what everybody in the industry knows. So that's basically the way forward. You know, I don't know what I don't know what guides you need to write for roofers, but I'm sure there's a YouTube video for that or a podcast already, which you can actually convert
Yeah,
to
but I
something.
mean, it is not necessarily unethical because if I'm writing a guide on, or I'm writing an article about the various shingles that we can put on a roof, and I need some more details. I need some more knowledge, hard facts into my article. I don't know it because I'm not a roofer, so I could look for a YouTube video or a podcast with some roofing, and then I could put it into ChatGPT or Notebook LM, and then ask ChatGPT or Notebook LM, give me a list of facts from this article.
Yeah,
And that's not unethical. We're just extracting facts that are out there, but they're not in writing yet. But that's what we're doing with your method. We're actually extracting quality facts
yeah, exactly.
instead of just asking ChatGPT to invent facts.
Yeah, I mean you're getting the insights directly from the source, right? If I was if I wanted to know how to produce wine, would I use a winemaker and a podcast, or would I ask ChatGPT? I mean, I'm sure that ChatGPT can hallucinate a lot when it doesn't have the facts. So you can, and again, we all have access to ChatGPT. Nobody has access to the winemaker. Well, I mean, the people here on the webinar, they now know about the method, so they can probably go out and do something similar as I do. But most people are just, using AI the wrong way. Yeah.
We have a question from Jim Faley. What tool are you using to transcribe podcasts?
Um, it's yeah. I mean, actually, I was before I was actually paying for tools. So I had specific tools to. I used a transcriptor. I used to get transcriptions for videos. I used there's another Danish company. I can't remember. Anyway, I paid for tools before, But now, and if you buy the course, you can of course get all the tools in there. But now I'm using a Notebook LM. So the fantastic thing about Notebook LM from Google is it's free, and you can actually go in and you can insert a URL from YouTube, and you will get the full transcription. I mean, sometimes the publisher will do will block the transcriptions, but most videos are public, and you will just get you will get the transcription in 30 seconds. A 1 hour video.
So what you're saying is that I could, if I find something interesting that I need to write an article about, I could go to YouTube. Also, you talked about the podcast, but I know that many YouTube videos, like what you're talking about, in the right side, when you're logged into YouTube in your Google Chrome browser, you can see the transcript for many videos. But for public videos, because Notebook LM is also Google, we can just simply paste the YouTube URL. Does it work like that? Is that easy? To just simply paste the URL, or how
Yeah.
does it work?
I mean, do you have access to Notebook LM, Jesper?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
if you
Just Christopher. Kyle, he says clicked on the link
oh,
to the course and it says the course is closed for enrollment. You might want to
okay,
open.
maybe that's the wrong link here. I will fix it after after the show as the first thing.
I think Christopher, if you could just take a couple of seconds and just finding the correct link so we can paste the.
Yeah, sure.
Then I'll delete the wrong link because I think it's yeah, message retract. I just retracted my message here.
Look
Yeah,
at this.
guys. So if you have questions, guys, with also related to what AI tools Christopher is using, because Christopher is actually teaching AI and how to use AI in businesses, just feel free to shoot in the chats. So now we are finding the correct link to the course.
Second here, Jesper. Let me just put it in here. I think this might work. I mean, that's Teachable is a great tool, but it's really horrible. It doesn't rank in Google. I mean, all these courses, it's very hard to find and I mean, the URLs are not very pretty. I need to put it on my own website, I think.
No, I just tried and that works. The link that you just pasted actually works. So
Okay.
Kyle, you can click. You should be able to click on this link, Kyle. And if you can't see it, I also posted it now.
So
Yeah. So my question that we were talking about is YouTube pasted into Notebook LM and then making the transcription.
yeah, exactly. And I don't know if I can I share my screen or
Yeah, you can. Yes. Hold on.
so
Uh, do, 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 do. Share screen. Hold on. I will make you to host because then you're able to share your screen.
what is the name of your channel, Jesper?
Jesper Nissen SEO.
SEO. Let me just see if I can do some magic here. So all right, I'll just let's just try with this 1 second. Okay, so I will share my screen here, and I just all right. I hope I'm not messing this up. Let's just see 1 second.
We can see your screen now. It says Notebook LM.
All right, so you have
Understand every. Yeah.
can you see my YouTube here?
Yes, we can see your Google
All right,
Chrome
so
browser.
I'm
Yes.
just gonna so this is
It's preparing to live stream the webinar.
I'm just gonna copy that one,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna go into Notebook LM. So I just copied your URL here, right? So I'm just gonna create a new notebook. So here I can insert the link for YouTube. I'm gonna paste that one in there. And then you can see over here on the left side, right, Jesper? Here you have your YouTube. And here you have here you have the full, so I'm just going to close this. Here you have the full webinar with all the R's and everything.
Oh
Down
my
there.
God. Oh my God. That's actually awesome. I
So you
didn't
actually,
know. I did not know that.
no, so actually what you can do after our meeting, you can actually go in, take the transcription from our talk, and you can have you can have a blog post up and ready in 30 minutes if, depending on your editing. So I mean, this is quite a revolution when I found out about this, because before I was just waiting for minutes and hours to get all these things in order. But I mean, Notebook LM, that's another level. That's completely another level.
This is awesome. I have actually been looking for a solution to convert YouTube transcriptions into readable blog posts. So I think that I might have found my solution actually with Notebook LM. This is awesome.
It's a long interview, huh? Yeah, and I mean, Notebook LM, it just can contain so many sources. There's so much space. I mean, you can create 50 notebooks and you can add like 20 sources per notebook. So I mean, there's so much here. I mean, a nice thing, actually, Jesper, if I'm gonna go back to the way that I'm teaching, when I'm teaching, sorry, no, I just went back here. One second, I went back to this. When I'm teaching AI, I can actually go in and I can upload, for instance, another source, and then I can have them discuss against each other, right? So if you have different schools of SEO, or you have SEO versus geo, you can actually have a discussion in here in Notebook LM. So yeah, so there are many use cases for using this tool.
This is awesome. So we got a question in YouTube. Fred is asking this method. So basically, this method consists of Notebook LM and specific prompts to get the unique output. And gotten is the output gotten from Notebook LM or another LLM?
If the
So
output is
yeah, so Fred is asking. He's asking about your methodology and the course. And so basically, this method consists of Notebook LM and specific prompts to get the unique output. Is the output gotten from Notebook LM or another LLM?
I mean, I'm using a Notebook LM is where I'm getting the output from. I'm 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 pasting in videos there. I'm pasting in podcasts. That's where I'm getting my data. Of course, there's more to it, and I'm not going to give away everything from the course. But I think just by putting YouTube into Notebook LM without buying the course, you can of course just already there get some T method going.
I think this is awesome, Christopher. I knew about your method already, but seeing it like this with the Notebook LM, and I know in the from the videos that I've watched in your course, you also have other AI tools that you use. So do you have experience with producing content like this? Makes it easier to get into the LLMs? Because I know that this is something that many people are talking about right now. How do I get it cited in ChatGPT? How do I get cited in Perplexity?
No.
Do you have experience with this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really on the fence that, fundamental SEO is the way to get into ChatGPT and other AIs. And I know that if you are a pure blood geo consultant, you will not agree on this. But I really think that the fundamentals of SEO, um, working with SEO in the right structured way will just get you into ChatGPT. I mean, if I ask in, maybe you can try in ChatGPT to ask where should I buy Danish wine. I mean, I will probably be in there somewhere.
Yeah,
I,
let, let
I think
actually
I
let me
think
let me
yeah,
ask now.
yeah.
Hold on.
I mean, it could be interesting to see in Aalborg if you get the same result as I do. But I mean, that's a tough thing about AI tools, that we see something different, all of us.
Yeah, I saw a blog post about that. It was from the I think was from the Danish rank tracking company Morningscore.
Mm.
So Morningscore, they actually built a ChatGPT rank tracker or rank monitoring tool for ChatGPT, but I think they dropped that again because The problem with ChatGPT is that I'm logged in to my account and I'm seeing something, and it's highly personified. So you're logged into your ChatGPT, and that's the same with all of the people. And if you're a company and you're building a ChatGPT rank tracking platform, you're not logged in. So because you can't be logged in because it has to be general. So it can't really at the moment it can't be used for anything right now. Actually, I'm seeing you ranking #1 in ChatGPT.
Okay.
Quick online picks, danishwine.com ranking #1. So yeah, you're the top pick from when I search. So yeah, not bad.
I mean, of course, Jesper, there are some different hacks when it comes to ranking for ranking in AIs, right? You can do prompt injection, or you can do some other different hacks, and I don't know if these hacks are going to exist tomorrow. I think what's important here is actually if you're doing fundamental SEO, you still have a very good chance of ranking in ChatGPT and in other AI tools. And fundamental SEO for me is actually doing the same thing that I did in the danishwine.com case. I'm answering all the questions that my prospects and clients have, and I'm doing it in a way that it's economically feasible for Google to actually go in and use my website as the primary source. So that's my approach to ranking in the AI tools.
I think actually what I'm thinking right now is because I love doing link building, and I think that this method is actually the perfect way of producing quality content for link building also, because one of the problems with link building content is that you need something that's scalable, and that's AI, and it's crap. So we all struggle with indexing rates when you're building AI articles for link building purposes in scale. So if we could somehow find a way of using this transcription method for link building articles, also for press releases. It doesn't have to be at scale. I mean, if I'm building a press release article about Schema Writer or Yax or some SEO course that I'm trying to promote for myself, this is an excellent addition to producing or to adding quality content to that link building or press release article. So I'm definitely going to try that out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be for SEO, right? It's anyone who's producing content in any format or shape. I mean, they can use or they can get inspired by this method. Yeah.
So, Christopher, we are almost at an hour now. So, if people have one final question, it's about time now. And if not, then I want to thank you for coming on, Christopher. It's been a pleasure having you.
Yeah, as always, Jesper. I had a good time.
Yeah, me too. So, yeah, and thanks, guys, for tuning in. Appreciate it. Appreciate the questions.